Welcome to Slasher Sunday. So I was listening to the Exploding Heads horror movie podcast, and they covered Stage Fright a while back, but I listened to the episode, I don't remember when, but it got me wanting to revisit this because I wasn't a big fan of it the first time, and they all seemed to really enjoy it, and I line up with them a decent amount, so I ordered the Blu-ray. I got it for pretty cheap, and I've had it in my collection now for quite a while, and I really went into this open-minded because of what I said, and man, once again, this was definitely not for me. You know what's weird is that some of the kills are pretty good. The music in it, the actual music that's in it, I quite enjoy. Like almost every musical number, I was like, oh, this is a good musical number for a musical. This, yes, is a musical. For some of you out there that despise these, obviously don't watch this. But I'm not opposed to that. I mean, I think that can work for sure, and it has in the horror genre. I just think that I got the kills, I've got the music, and there's some good-looking women to look at, stuff like that. But what it really came down to for me is that I didn't like anybody. I didn't give a fuck about any character, and I never connected to the story at all. So while elements of it, and especially since it's a musical, and I actually think the music in it is quite good and well done, I'm just not attached to anything to care. It's almost like I feel like I'm listening to a soundtrack, because what's happening on the screen I couldn't give a shit about. And then once in a while I'll get like a kill thrown at me that I'm like, oh, that was all right, that was fine, that was good-ish. I mean, some of them are better than others. One or two of them are pretty good. But overall, man, I don't care. That was the biggest disconnect for me, is I don't give a shit about anything going on. And I had a hard time believing anything that was going on, because this is like this little summer camp for, these choir kids, and they're going to put on this play, and like there's multiple children there. Like there's children. I'm not talking about these like the many girls in this movie that are clearly in their late 20s trying to play like they're fucking 15. But regardless, there's a lot of like children there, and then the adults in this are like, the director of the play is trying to bang both the girls that are like competing for the top spot, and it just feels very out of place and odd, because this feels so kid oriented with the surrounding cast, that the guy trying to bang a couple of the girls on the set, who I'm not even sure are what age they're supposed to be, especially the redhead. I'm just kind of like, what the fuck is happening here? So that kind of threw me off, and the fact that he's trying to bang them for like what essentially equates to me to being like a fucking school play. Like, who's banging people to be the lead in a school play? I'm not saying that probably it hasn't happened. I mean, we get it in like prom night 1 or 2. Can't remember which one that's in, where she like blows the guy to put the name up on the thing. That's prom night 2. That's Mary Lou, prom night 2. Hello, Mary Lou. But I don't know, it's just like the lengths she's willing to go to, and she does fuck him, right? Like, he's like, oh, that's still gonna be a tough decision. He zips up his pants. Like, it looks like she stops him at first, but then I'm like, wait, did he fuck her? Like, I didn't notice any sex going on, but then it made it look like he had sex with her, and I was like confused by that. So, and I know her mom's, played by Minnie Driver, who looks fucking fantastic in this. I know she's supposed to be promiscuous, and so she had this reputation that followed her around. And I liked that. I liked that the main character would actually go to the lengths of sleeping with the director to get the part, you know, despite what has happened in the past with her mother and all of that stuff. Because typically this character would never actually sleep with him. She might allow him to kiss on her a little bit, like trying to be like, oh, maybe I can do this. And then she usually be like, no, 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 no. And that's what I thought they did here. And so I was liking that she did it, even though I disagree. Like, this guy's a fucking creep and don't sleep with anyone for, you know, gain. Like, that's just silly that anybody would want that or anybody would give that up. But it's, I mean, you're right. Do whatever the fuck you want. I just, you know, obviously I have no support for it. But in that scene, she's about to fuck him, and I'm thinking they're about to, and I'm thinking, oh, that's cool. That's a change of pace. I'm not used to that in these kinds of movies, unless it's like the slutty character, not the main character, right? And then she's like, backs off. She's like, oh, I think I should go back to my cabin now, or whatever she says. And he's like, okay, it's still going to be a tough pick. He doesn't freak out, like, what the fuck, you led me on this and that, you know, whatever. So he must have had sex with her. So I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. And then I was like, oh, that's kind of lame. And then I was like, oh, wait, I think it actually happened. So it's kind of confused. But yeah, you've got Minnie Driver, you got Meatloaf. You've got this main girl here played by Ally McDonald. And yeah, I don't know. There was something about her I didn't care for. And I don't know who this, like, that's her on the cover, but that ain't her hair in the movie. Like, her hair looks like shit. It looks like a fucking wig. This looks good. She looked cute as fuck here. In the movie, she's a good looking girl. It just, I don't know. She looks really, like, made under the whole film. It's not like she ever comes out and is like, the scene where the girl walks out and everyone's like, whoa, she's actually beautiful under all of that. She just doesn't look all that great throughout the film, and she's an attractive girl, so you're like, what the hell? And I don't, the voice of the killer when he's just talking was annoying me. I don't know, when he sang and his songs, as I said, all the music was good, and I liked all the like hard rock inspired guitar riffs and stuff. He's all rockered out when he's singing and doing his stuff. I like that. But when he speaks, it feels like, especially when he's singing like "Shut Your Fucking Face," I was expecting him to follow that up with "Uncle Fucker." Again, it felt like that. It felt like it was about to break out into a South Park musical. So yeah, for everybody who's like, oh, I don't like musicals, bullshit. You like South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, and you like Team America World Police. Okay, maybe some of you didn't, but most of you did. So don't tell me you don't like musicals. You just don't like most musicals. Because those are funny as fuck. And Cannibal the Musical, if we're going to go off Trey Parker and Matt Stone. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't find anything funny. Like, there's songs like, oh, I'm gay, and it's like, well, not in that way, and then the other guy comes in, and he's like, well, I am gay, and then, of course, the other guy who's, like, denying it the whole time ends up being gay, and having this big moment, and they kiss each other, but I just don't care. I don't attach myself to anything. I don't care for our main character here and her mother. They just never make that connection for me. You know? And, like, character connection is probably the strongest element of the musicals I love. Whether it be La La Land, Moulin Rouge, Hedwig and the Angry Inch. Like, these are films where I fucking love the characters. Whether it be me and Sebastian, or whether it be, you know, Hedwig and... whatever. It's character-driven films with great music attached to it. Like, when Hedwig sings Origin of Love, I'm so emotionally invested in this character that I genuinely feel like teary-eyed every fucking time I listen to the song. Even when I'm not watching the movie, I'm so invested in the character's journey throughout the film that when they're singing it, or if obviously in La La Land, when Sebastian and Mia are kind of having their strife later in the film, I give a fuck. I genuinely care, and I genuinely want them to end up together. And when the ending happens, every single fucking time I ever watched it, I'm crushed, devastated, and I try to learn the lesson that's being taught to me in the film. But this movie, I feel nothing at all, not once for anybody, and that's a tremendous crime to commit. Now I know that, and I wouldn't be so hard on that element of this film if the comedic elements, which they were going for here and there, it does kind of play off like a horror comedy musical, which is going to sound like Poison to a few of you. But if they more stuck to the comedic tone and they just went all in on that and maybe had some dramatic elements here and there, but this movie's like 50-50. It's like a lot of drama with this girl, and she's trying to overcome the death of her mother when she's a kid, and she's gone up on stage, and she's this cook at this, camp or whatever the hell it is, and they're like, no, you can't perform here, and she comes up there and sings anyways and lets that guy like, hey, I'm gonna owe you one. And then she like completely ignores him the whole rest of the time that she's there because he can't give her anything anymore. And then when the director needs to give, has something that she needs, she goes and gives her physical attention to him when she made it seem like she was going to fuck the other guy for letting her in there. And he actually had a real, genuine thing for her. I think he wanted her for real. Her character is really bitchy, which I'm fine with, I'm fine with her being bitchy. I'm fine with her being different and even being a shit throughout most of it, and then kind of redeeming herself in the end, albeit like, or something like Tree and Happy Death Day, or even, something funny like, Frank Cross in Scrooged, or any of those Ebenezer Scrooge type movies, where somebody's a piece of shit and they're your main protagonist, but they ended up kind of changing in the end for the better. Whatever way they wanted to go, or they could keep her a piece of shit the entire time, but I don't know, it's like this girl is just kind of using her way through, but she was also kind of asking us for sympathy, and I didn't really feel any real, because it didn't even feel like she wanted to be a part of it, but then she kind of did, and she was very conflicted about that, but I never cared. Like, this is what I'm saying. It's like everything they tried to throw at me, I just couldn't give a shit about. I kept trying. I kept getting like, all right, come on, man, get it. And I just could not do it. So that's a shame. Minnie Driver's kill in the opening where she gets stabbed in the throat. She's a singer. She's stabbed in the throat multiple times and then a knife shoved down her throat. Probably the best kill of the film, off the top of my head. And the light bulb in the mouth, and he kind of like punches him on both sides. That one's fine. It feels very, it feels brutal, but I guess it just doesn't look that brutal to me. So it's all right. I do like that the guy's foot breaks off. He like has it stuck, and like he pushes him back, break a leg, and his foot rips off there. That's all right. And someone ends up dead, and then he pushes for the show to go through because the camp's gonna fail, and so the guy comes out to, I don't know, fund the place. I don't know what's really happening there, but yeah. And then they put on the play. So there's just like a lot of prep for it, which the music was good. I liked all that stuff. But everything else, no. And then the play happens, and then a lot of the play stuff is just stupid to me. Like, there's too many questions that I'm there. Now, am I supposed to be taking any of this seriously? Because I think it's funny that they open up the movie with, like, it's a true story, and the musical numbers are performed exactly how they were in real life. Like, that's funny. That's cute. But the stage play at the end, especially when like the redheaded chick who's supposed to be the lead, she's like, they put a mask on her and then push her out onto the stage, and she just keeps kind of like dancing around to the music. And then the gay guy who's running the show, he like runs out on stage to face his stage fright, and he grabs her, and they're just kind of dancing around the stage as the musicians down there, little choir, or not choir, the band geeks, they play the music, and they're like dancing around, and the whole audience just keeps laughing, and they cut away from it like 3 times, and they come back, and every time the audience is still laughing at them just kind of waltzing around the stage. This scene is completely nonsensical in every imaginable way. She had complete mobility of her body, so why the fuck wouldn't she just run off stage or run out into the crowd or run like? And then he grabs her, and everyone continues to keep finding this funny. What? Why? Why wouldn't she just drop to the ground? Why wouldn't, like... I don't know. Am I supposed to take that seriously? It's for humor, but it's not humorous. It's not landing at all for me. I just don't see. I don't see how the audience inside the movie finds the scene funny, and I don't see how I'm supposed to find the scene funny. Like, I know who it is. You know it's that chick. And when it's revealed, it's like, why would she do that? She can see. Like, the mask is on her, and she's got the eyes, and she can see, eye holes, she can see. So why wouldn't she like run off the stage and run into somebody, and then like try to pull her mask off on somebody's face and scream help? Like, what the fuck is that scene? It makes 0 sense. So I don't know, man. I just, let's see, what else do I got? I do like that there's 2 killers, that the little kid who grows up to be the brother, and he witnessed the murder of his mom, and then he comes back to get revenge on him. Why he wouldn't just kill the guy? Why he has to kill everybody else? I don't understand that. Like, the director fucking killed that punk-ass little motherfucker. Like, using your position of power to get women to sleep with you, some Harvey Weinstein type shit, that is about as ugly as things could possibly be. So fuck that guy. I'm glad he died. But like, I don't know, other people, for what? Like, why would they be killed? It just, I don't know. I don't got anything. He should have just came after Meatloaf, right? Like, that's, to me, but that's just revenge. I don't know. He's lost his mind. There's no rhyme or reason. But regardless, he goes after Meatloaf. We find out he's a bad guy too. So it's almost like a Scream kind of thing, where we get 2 killers for the price of 1, and Meatloaf kills the brother and then starts chasing her down, and then she kills him with the skill saw, which has the S taken off of it, so it's a kill saw, and then she saws his belly, gets blood all over, and then she runs out on stage bloody and grabs the other girl, and then everyone claps, and then she's like a big star. And it's like, from what? For fucking up the play, for having like this 4-minute scene of like people dancing around the stage, and then you just run out and grab a girl covered in blood and everyone cheers like, oh my god, that was amazing. Like, what? How did that play into the story? If you were to actually think about how the play was playing out, what place that was in when the play kind of went on that little bit of a hiatus where it was kind of trying to figure itself out with the guy dancing around on stage, if the girl ran out and grabbed the girl in that moment and then the play ended, everyone would be like, what the fuck just happened? None of that makes any sense. Why were they dancing around like that? Why should she come out and grab her? Like, how does that end the story? How does that even like play into the story? And not only does that, but then she's like, a year later, she's out on fucking like Broadway or something. She's like the big star. Really? From a camp? Like, that's what they do? They recruit from there, and then she's like headliner? She doesn't even have to work her way up the ranks in that short of amount of time? Get the fuck out of here. Like, I don't know, man. As I said, I'm supposed to believe it is true. I don't know. The pirating song at the end of the during the credits was kind of funny. Like, how are you watching this movie? Pirating is bad. It's stealing. anything else to say? That was one busty ass top that our main girl here was wearing for what, as I said, essentially looks like a child's play. Like if you were to go to like if you were to go to like a middle school play and some like 20-something-year-old walked out with her tits like pushed up and they were like basically only covering the nipples and they're like in her fucking face and it was just like completely exposed. I mean, I'd be the one up there like at that scene, but I can't imagine those being. Oh, the killer has like saw brass knuckles. That was kind of interesting. Kind of a silly weapon to be honest, but they were trying something here. Yeah, like the girl who got killed in the shower. Like, what was her sin? Like, why kill her? She's got her face melted in the shower, almost like the nurse in Halloween 2. But I don't know. That's such a lame death. And then the kid who can't admit he's gay, he gets killed for what? Like the vengeance. There's no vengeance for that kid. He didn't do anything because he wouldn't admit he's gay. I mean, he just did. He kissed this dude in front of everybody. I mean, obviously that's not why, but I got nothing, man. This one didn't work for me. But I watched it, and I have to do a slasher Sunday, so typically this isn't something I would talk about. But if I wasn't huge on it, I like to have fun in these slasher Sundays, and I'm clearly not having a lot of fun here. But it's my honest opinion. Not a fan. Anybody want a Blu-ray? I ain't watching this shit again. Oh well. Maybe I'll listen to the soundtrack.